Okay, so May 12th, 2020, outside in my yard, having severe panic attacks, people. Serious. Can you hear the water running? Right? Severe panic attacks. Petition did yesterday. Is she waiting to see her beans grow? We need to put a few more in there. This is my landlady's patch. I'm trying to really fill it up. Right? But like seriously, serious panic attacks, people. The house there is empty. 24/7, 365 days out of the year.
There's a sign.
Do you see? 1, 2, 3. Normally they have like 12 of them out here, people. Okay, people. May 12th, 2020. Do you see that? It says largest spike in grocery prices in nearly 50 years. Let's just finish listening to what they're saying here.
Outbreaks at meat and poultry plants are also driving up prices. With new social distancing guidelines and workers calling out, production has plummeted. There are also fewer sales and promotions at stores themselves. A run-up on food prices with no clear end in sight. Sam Brock, NBC News, Miami.
Okay. Now let's go into this. I want you to listen to this. Okay?
Deflos CTV.
Thank you so much for taking my question. With phase 2 around the corner and the idea of expanding our bubbles, I'm hearing from a lot of single people who've been very lonely. Some of them may be just feeling frisky. They're thinking about dating again. So I just want to hear, what is Dr. Henry's advice when it comes to sex and dating? And will we start seeing some public health messaging around that? Because I think there's a lot of confusion, concern. Are people still allowed to see each other? I know other jurisdictions say kissing is the highest risk. So any,
are people still allowed to see
each other? The single people in particular, I think, is
Did you hear that?
Appreciated.
Yeah, I know it's an incredibly challenging time for all of us, and when we don't have a ready-made people within our bubble, it can be even
within
more
our
lonely.
bubble.
And I think many people have adapted, I know, to online and to talking online and to having encounters online that can be quite helpful in that regard. I would say
she's being coy.
Now's the time that we need to be careful. We're not out of that place where coming together in large groups is going to be safe for a while. But yes, we can.
People
look
are starting
at
to protest out here.
People, those people that we have been talking to online. These are our opportunities, but we need to be very careful about it and cautious about it, and make sure that we do follow the guidance around cleaning our hands, etc. I think the really important thing, and I'm laughing a little bit because I'm thinking of some of the young people in my life who are concerned about missing some of the occasions that they might meet others. And yeah, we can do that. We have to do that. We're social people. We need that. But let's do it in small, thoughtful ways. And also, let's be really concerned about ourselves. And if we are feeling unwell or under the weather, put it off for another day. That's the really important thing right now. I also will say that, we've seen lots of people outside, and one of the people that in my life remarked to me that, now that we can't go to bars and clubs and things, going out to the park and sitting at a distance and having picnics, those are the new romantic things people are doing. And
1 million
that's an okay
people
thing too. So let's find those opportunities to meet each other safely, and
in a park,
if you happen to
having a picnic,
pull somebody else, find
two
somebody
meters
that
apart.
you want to spend more close time with, then make it your own connections.
Like seriously,
Next question
people.
is from Rob Shaw, Vancouver Sun.
Let's see what this question is.
Oh, hi, Dr. Henry. Washington State has proposed, or mandated actually, that if a restaurant is going to reopen, it has to keep a daily log of all the customers, their telephone and email contact information.
Oh my
keep that
God!
for 30
Are
days
you listening?
to help with contact tracing if there's an outbreak. Is that something you would expect to see here in BC?
Yeah, that is something that we've seen in other situations. So, we have those requirements for places like, massage places, spas, other places where you can understand who the customers have been. I think that's a really good idea. I haven't seen the details of the BC Restaurant Association proposals,
really
but
good idea.
that type of thing that helps us understand who might have been in close contact with others
not in our
is
pod.
something that's important to help assist us going forward. So I think that's a really good idea.
They're just bringing in the norm
Question
to
is from
target
Fletcher,
people.
CBC.
And they're using the health care to do it.
Oh, hi, Dr. Henry. You touched on this a little bit yesterday, but with more jurisdictions
And they don't provide
mandating
provisions
the use
to
of masks
fight
while out in
back
public,
people.
you stayed away from making that a formal recommendation.
They
before.
buy
You
off
seem to
the
be
judges in
more
the
in favor of
Supreme
that
Court,
now.
people.
And many of your guidelines to sectors include wearing a mask.
They come after your
Businesses begin to
family
reopen,
and they
some are requiring customers to wear masks,
harvest
others
them,
are not. Are you
people.
concerned there might be confusing or inconsistent messaging around that?
Yeah, I really don't believe we should be requiring it. There are many reasons why some people
I don't know
cannot
what the question was.
wear a mask, a face covering. People who have certain respiratory illnesses, it can be very challenging. And
oh, hold on. Okay, you just heard that, right? I'm telling you, people, we're dealing with a form of vampirism. Okay? I think Ciera's been caught up in that fucking subculture of a culture for a while. Right? I think a little bit of what was going on the day she died kind of was a little bit around vampirism. Okay? And I think our government, politicians and officials, I think some of them practice this shit and they're loosh, 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 harvesting the energy from all this negativity that they're bringing to millions of people right across this province and every other province and state as they sweet talk us with, well, as long as we're kind to each other and wash our hands because we're children. You need to be reminded every day, all day, to wash your hands and to not do this and not do that. And if you're going to have sex, just think about it and go online and masturbate in front of each other. And I won't tell you that, though, because I'm a politician and I'm in the House of Commons, Legislative House of Assembly. So God forbid, I can't use the word masturbation, but basically that's what I'm insinuating. You can look at each other online and masturbate and get to know each other that way. And if you really want to go one step further, you can book a plan to have a picnic in a park, 6 feet away from each other, waving, thinking about going home in front of your computer and masturbating, and maybe you just might fall in love. If that's not loose harvesting, people, I don't know what is. Anyway, I got a little extra money for Andre, I guess because of the coronavirus. So I went off and I bought more meat, people. And I even had one of the meat guys ask me, how do you can meat? And I'm like, well, it's pretty simple. Basically told him what to do. And then I told him just to go on YouTube, right? Google it. It's really simple because where I was, everywhere I go, there is a shortage, people, because one, the prices are too high. And beef, it's like they bring out one cow a day. There's not much selection for beef. There really, really isn't. Today I bought beef bones. I'll show them to you probably tomorrow because I've got, instead of going back and buying those pork chops or whatever they were, I bought this instead. You can see, right? 1, 2. So I'm going to prepare those and I'm going to can those. And because they have rind, and I like rind, I like that, right? I'll just vacuum seal them after I process this. And then, because beef is like just out of the roof in terms of cost right now, I did buy some lean ground beef. I'm sorry. This is just regular beef. So I bought 4 packs of those, and then 1 lean, which I'm going to start cooking up now, because you kind of have to cook it a bit to cook off some of the, what is it called? Grease. But I'm going to combine these two together, and then I'm going to can these. Plus I have 2 little packs of pork, which I'm going to do the same thing. Ground pork. One is lean ground pork, the other one is just regular. It's not as much as the beef, but I'm going to cook those, and I'm going to can those as well in this size jar. So I'm going to start with the beef first, 70 minutes after it gets into the canner. I'm pretty sure it's 70 minutes, but I'll double check. And then as it's cooking, then I'm going to get into this pork, chop it up, and may very well can that tonight. If not, I'll at least get it into the, what is it called? Fridge, ready for tomorrow. And I did buy 2 whole chickens today for $22, so that worked out to $11 a chicken. And what I'm going to do with them tomorrow is I'm going to cut them right down, cut them in half, and I'm going to vacuum seal 4 packs of half and half chickens, right? And that's, so that's another 4 more meals at some point in the future, right? And then I've got the beef bones, which I'm going to vacuum seal, right? And where I went for the beef bones, normally that place is full of meat, but it was down to half, people. Down to half. And of course, I'm looking for the deals, right? And like, this guy was like, what you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm going to be canning. He go, canning? He said, how long does that last? I said, it can last forever. As long as your jar doesn't pop, you're good to go, right? You can open up a jar from 2012 and it will be perfectly fine. It can sit for 20 years, people. As long as the jar doesn't open, it can be fine. So anyway, him being in the meat department, a butcher of some kind, he said, well, I'm going to go look it up. In other words, he's working there, people, and he sees the trouble coming. Okay, he sees the trouble coming because our politicians are living in their own damn bubble. I went out and I went to various different stores, and I felt like I was in a Star Wars movie with these plastic things that they've got over their faces with their masks and plexiglass, and people just being all shifty and shady and paranoid. Not everybody. Some are a little more, have common sense and are reasonable, but we're in bad shape, people. So anyway, since the government, kept the liquor stores open, and some of us might have to start grabbing our bug-out bags, right? Or we're going to need things to barter with, right? Because I don't drink, people, but I've heard that, the government was kind enough to keep the liquor stores open. So I went into the liquor store today to go get myself some beer. That's what I went in for. Because I have one beer that's been sitting around for the last 2 years, and I guess at Christmas time or New Year's or something, I did that little video. I had 2 beer, and those beers I had in my house for like almost 2 years. That's how much I drink. So I'm down to my last beer. It's in the fridge. So I thought, okay, I'll buy some beer, a case of beer, right? So I went in and I bought a case of beer.
By the door.
Yeah, and I told Andre we'll make some earwushkas. He goes, earwushkas? What are earwushkas? I said, well, that's a Ukrainian pastry that uses beer in its batter, right? So maybe we'll make some earwishkas. I have to find my grandmother's recipe for that one. So anyway, we went inside, and people were going in and out, in and out, in and out, right? Long lines. So, you know, they're making good money in the liquor store. And then I said, well, you know, I think I'm going to buy myself some vodka. That's what I said, right? I think I'm going to buy myself some vodka because, first of all, vodka is a good antiseptic in case of if the shit really hits the fan and you need an antiseptic. That's a good antiseptic to have. And it's also a good tincture, right? Is something to make a tincture with, like for medicine. Like if you wanted to, like, or I know if you want to make black walnut ink, right? And you've got the powder, and then you mix the powder with the whatever water, and then you just put a tad bit of either the rubbing alcohol, right? Like the alcohol in those little alcohol bottles, or you can use straight up vodka. So for me, I thought, fuck it. You don't drink, but since the government is pushing everybody over the edge, maybe you should start, right? And if you don't start, then at least you've got something to barter with, because before I'd want the vodka, I'd want the sugar. So somebody might have sugar one day and they don't have vodka, where I've got the vodka. Okay, well, just put it down. I'm going to eat mine now. Where I've got the vodka. To barter with. You know why they keep the liquor stores open? Because you pay tax on this stuff. Like I don't know how much the tax was. It was a lot though. Quite a bit really. What did they charge in tax? For provincial sales tax, it was $14.70 just for those 3 bottles. Well, I guess beer's included in that. Right? And then GST, which is the government, is 5% at $7.35. And then the deposits was $2.10. The liquor itself was $146, and that's including the beer. Now, the beer I'll drink, but I don't drink very often, right? So, I just wanted to have it on hand just in case, right? This I bought as a statement, more than anything, for YouTube. I bought this for YouTube, right? Because this is what the government is doing. They're driving people to drink. For the ones that actually drink, I can only imagine how they're sucking this shit back. If they're having financial difficulties, or they can't open their businesses, you know, or you know, whatever it is that these vampires are doing, it's like vampirism. They're sucking the blood and the life out of certain people. Just, they're targeting people, okay? They're targeting people. That's what they're doing. And they're using a, I don't want to call it a bioweapon, but it's like a bioweapon to do it. Right? Because it's not a bioweapon, people. Because if it was a bioweapon, trust me, there would be more fucking people dead. Okay, now, and here's the other thing. In New York, with all these numbers, blah, 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 it's already been determined that a lot of those people came in from the inner city who happened to be black and Hispanic, who happened to be poor, who many of them probably live in shelters, right? Where they stack 10,000 deep into a shelter if they're not coming in off the street, or they're living in those row houses after row house, or in these government subsidized cockroach infested fucking buildings that are like high rises ready to crumble at the seams because a lot of them are run by slum landlords. Okay, this is where the numbers of mostly sick are coming in from in New York. But that governor, he doesn't talk about that. And then as for the elderly, well, you know, there is now what is it called? Oh, theories, other doctors, like legitimate doctors are coming out and are connecting the dots to suggest that some of these past vaccines that they've had in terms of the flu shots and those types of things are triggers people to what's happening today under the so-called coronavirus because of nanotechnology, right? This is a political agenda that we're under. This is not a health crisis. This is a lockdown, target, cease and desist, seize, lock up, and destroy. Right? That red pill, blue pill. Some people get the green light, other people go to jail or to their graves. Ciera was dubbed to go to her grave because they didn't want her running around out on the streets any more than they want other people like Ciera running around on the streets. So slowly but surely they are targeting them one by one, picking them off, and because they're street people, at this point nobody really gives a shit until it comes knocking on their door. And by the time it comes knocking on their door, they're going to be so fucking oblivious with their fucking drinking and their depression and beating their wives or beating their husbands or beating their kids or fucking beating their neighbors. Because if they keep on this path, people are going to start snapping. Okay? Unless, of course, the cops keep culling the population like they did with Ciera. Because Ciera was just a fucking purge. Just a cull. That's all she was, people. You know, this yakety yak, oh, just be kind. We're so sorry that, you know, we've lost 131 old people or people from the coronavirus. Well, you always talk about the old people, but you never talk about the other ones that died from the coronavirus, more than likely because they came in off the fucking streets. Like, who are these other people that are dying from the coronavirus besides the old people? And don't come talking to me about how you guys care about the old people. Because my kids witnessed how the old people are being treated in these care facilities. Right? We've experienced firsthand what those kind of people do to old people because they did it to Uncle John and they didn't give a rat's ass about Uncle John. So anything that they have to say is nothing but louche harvesting. They're mocking you. They're rubbing it in your face. They're laughing at you. They're taunting you. They're teasing you. They are targeting you. Unless, of course, you've got 5 million, 10 million sitting in the bank so that you can be all cushy with them and be part of the problem. But you see, they don't see themselves as the problem. As long as they're getting your taxes. Well, there you go. I paid my taxes. Don't let nobody say I didn't pay my fucking taxes. So what's going to happen to that? I will keep one bottle out just because it's a good antiseptic, right? It's good to hit somebody on the head with if I need it, right? Would I drink it? Oh, I'm not really. I don't like to drink too much, people. I would keep it around just to maybe make like a tincture or medicine or something with it. Right? Put it in black walnut ink. But more than likely, you know, I wouldn't even open it because it's more valuable unopened. For me, it's more valuable unopened. I will put it away in long-term food storage and save it as a bartering. And that's what I was telling the people when I was running around in that liquor store. I have a bartering tool. This is what this is. He goes, one guy said, yeah, this is better than gold. I said, no fucking kidding. So over the next 6 months, I might buy a few more bottles. I might. I wouldn't get into whiskeys or ryes or anything like that. I'd go with the vodka, because the vodka you can actually make tinctures. I don't think you can make tinctures. Not that I know how to make them, but with the way the world is going, who freaking knows? Seriously, nobody knows anymore. It's so out of control. So anyway, let me get on with this. I'll give you a dollar amount as I go along, because I'm telling you, people, you've seen that little clip. The cost of food is getting more and more expensive. It's going to continue to get that way because there's nothing stopping these people from doing what they do. Just like there was nothing stopping anybody from Eleanor doing what Eleanor did to Uncle John with Fraser Health Authority and CIBC Bank. There was nothing to stop them. There was nothing to stop them to do from them to do what they did with ShaMay's body. Never mind with the fact that she was murdered and they covered it up. Nothing there to stop them, right? To pillage her body, to put her on machines for 9 days so she could rot, so that the healthcare system could be taxed $500,000 to $1 million to keep a dead body on machines. Something that this minister doesn't even want to fucking look at, right? Okay? Because they're too busy, what? Oh, just masturbate in front of the computer and everything will be fine. You'll fall in love that way. And then if you really want to get together, just go to the park and have a picnic. But just make sure you stay 2 meters away from each other and wave. And then when the fucking RoboCop comes, you can tell him that you're following the rules. And that RoboCop will leave you alone. So don't worry. We'll get through it together. Just be kind. As they're targeting you. Just be kind. As they're targeting you. Okay, so we're going to listen to this.
In those settings are doing to support those people going through this unprecedented crises and having to deal with those issues of separation from supports as well.
Lisa Cordesco,
Okay,
CHLY.
this is the question. Listen.
Thank you. I hope that both Dr. Henry and Minister Dick can respond to my question. How concerned are you with the conspiracy theories related to COVID-19 that are circulating on social media platforms and are being played out in protests like the one in front of St. Paul's Hospital last Sunday? And are there any steps that you're planning to push back against it, or do you just see it as a fringe group that's very small and is best ignored?
Yeah, it's really challenging because there's a lot of stuff out there that has a bit of truthiness to it.
Truthiness.
And I know people send me lots of things that they think are conspiracies. That there's a number of people who call themselves physicians in a number of different places, particularly from the U.S.
Who call themselves physicians.
They put out
She's not a
information
doctor.
that they believe shows
She's a
things
lobbyist.
like it comes from a lab. Clearly, that staying at home somehow makes our immune systems weaker.
No, it just makes you drink.
It's very challenging. And one of the ways that I think is very important is the fact that we do come out here and provide you with the information that we have. I provide you with as much as we know and encourage people to go to reputable sources of information. So the Health Canada website, the Public Health Agency of Canada, our BC CDC website, are sources of truth. And you can go
sources of truth.
To other
then
links,
deal with ShaMay Charney. Deal with Ciera Charney.
Well.
Deal with John Duncan. Deal with Amari.
There's a number of people that have been trying to address some of the misinformation.
Deal with the ongoing gang stalking
I think
of my
it
family.
all of us to take a deep breath, and when something comes out
targeting
that is wildly out there and seems to be
mainly
credible,
through the healthcare
sometimes
system,
when we're not around our usual people, when we're self-isolating, we don't have somebody to bounce those ideas off of. We put it out on social media right away, and that's a way that we know we can connect with people, and many people will be are looking for that reason, looking for an answer that makes sense to them. And we see that as well when people are going through the anxiety and the fear that something like a new outbreak,
loose
a new disease
harvesting,
happens. So
fear.
I would just say,
fear
the
factor.
mantra that I say all the time: we need to be calm. We need to take a deep breath, take a good look at it, look at some reputable sources of information, and that will help us find the right way forward through this.
Well, we don't have much of a choice. That's the thing, though, people. They've got everybody running around like it's Star
I think
Wars.
one of the reasons we've given such regular briefings, that we've delivered information when it's good news, when it's more difficult news. We've acknowledged the price of COVID-19 in BC.
This is Adrian Dix.
We should just reflect on that. 131 people have passed away.
0.0024 out of 5.2 million people.
Lost their work and so on. I think we owe it to them.
To them, not to Ciera, not to Uncle John,
and to be
not to ShaMay, not to Amari. They don't owe nothing to them, do they?
Not to encourage it, even by reacting to people who are taking steps that are designed to produce a reaction. I am very proud of British Columbia. This is going to be this is a long time behind us now. It feels like a long time. It was 3 or 4 months since
he's not suffering, people. He's been an MLA for 20 fucking years.
In BC.
Well, I don't know about 20 years.
People have come together.
But he's got his portfolio.
Come together. Last night we hosted our event with Norm Letnick. We've hosted events with Sonia Furstenau from different parties in BC. People have come together to provide the information to
people like
each other
him
in this time. And there are always going to be people who want to pursue another agenda.
Another
agenda.
agenda.
We have to think of.
You've basically bankrupt 1 million lives in the province of British Columbia, Canada,
see their loved ones.
And it's other people who have an agenda.
In self-isolation and recovered from COVID-19. To be true to them, we have to be true to ourselves.
Oh, now we owe
to protect one another.
131 people our lives.
Continue not to see this as an
sacrifice our grandchildren
anything else but come together
for other people when they aren't being targeted by those other people.
The attention that's paid to a very small number of people in BC, frankly, is necessarily warranted. I think we've got to be careful not to, in our reactions to things, raise them up too much.
It's because people are starting to protest out here.
So
leave me alone. Go away.
From BC, and one that we can all be very proud of.
Next is Richard Zussman, Global News.
Just to follow up on a few things from earlier in the call, Minister Dix, are you concerned about this perception out there of this double standard for the NHL, that while people are being told, stay at home, limit your contact, there's thoughts of a big organization coming to British Columbia and bringing with it hundreds of people? And to Dr. Henry, to the first question, the kissing part, is that something that people should be concerned about, spreading the virus?
See how they think it's funny? Laughing at your face, people. They're laughing at you. And now he's blushing. As if.
Thanks, Richard.
As if kissing is the crime of a fucking century.
What we're going to do is, when there's a plan.
When there's a plan.
If there's a plan. And right now, there's a lot of interest, obviously, for people who are fans of professional sports.
Oh, he bypassed the kissing question.
Since
doesn't even want to talk about the kissing question. Because he's laughing, he thought it was funny. Anyway, people, you can see what's going on in my province. There are people out there that are starting to protest, though. They touched on it just a little bit, tried to play it off like it was a conspiracy theory, right? Just like my notice of civil claim is a conspiracy theory. What happened to ShaMay was a conspiracy theory. What happened to Uncle John was a conspiracy theory. What happened to Amari at the time of his birth with that fucking negligent hospital ignoring the signs, right? Blaming ShaMay for their fuck-ups and then making it so that he didn't get the MRI so I can't come back and sue them after they made sure ShaMay was dead and then try to play her off like she was alive. after they took out what they wanted from her body and then illegally embalmed her body. That's all conspiracy theory, right, people? What happened to Uncle John? All conspiracy theory. They're rolling in the dough, people. They got 1 million people wiped out. That's 1 million people to target over a period of the next 4 years, 5 years. The number of homeless people are slowly but surely disappearing as they're dropping off the grid like Ciera under a so-called conspiracy theory, even though we have it fucking documented on YouTube now, right? How shady the cops can really be right along with the coroner's office. It's all there, people. But that's just a conspiracy theory, right? As they're mocking you. Oh, we're so sorry about those deaths, those corona deaths. But when it comes to fentanyl and everybody else, fuck you. Fuck you. That's basically every day I listen to this shit. It's a fuck you, Judy. It's a fuck you, and fuck your family, right? And fuck people like you. And there's more than 1 million like me, people. This is bad. Going out in society and being in Star Wars with everybody with their Star Wars masks on, with another mask on. Security following you around, making sure that you're not getting too close to the freaking popcorn. Right?